Welcome to The Moonlit Path Through the Orchard, a soothing story designed to ease you into a state of deep relaxation and peaceful sleep. If you enjoy this content and find it helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Before we begin our walk through the moonlit orchard, I'll offer a gentle breathing guidance to help you unwind and prepare for rest. If you prefer to skip directly to the story, you can find the timestamps for each chapter in the description below. Find a comfortable position, whether you're lying in bed or sitting in a favorite chair. Let your body relax, releasing any tension you might be holding. Adjust your surroundings to create a cozy and inviting space. Perhaps dim the lights, wrap yourself in a soft blanket, or light a lightly scented candle. Tonight, we'll journey to Silver Creek Orchard, a place of tranquility and gentle beauty. Imagine the soft silvery light of the moon filtering through the leaves of ancient apple trees, the gentle rustling of leaves in the night breeze, and the sweet fragrance of ripening fruit. Let these sensory details begin to calm your mind, inviting a sense of peace and ease. Now, let's take a slow, calming breath together. Inhale gently through your nose, allowing the air to fill your lungs effortlessly. Then, exhale softly through your mouth, like a gentle sigh of contentment. With each breath, feel your body softening, melting into a state of relaxation. Visualize the moonlit path winding through the orchard, the soft glow illuminating the way. Imagine the gentle touch of the night breeze on your skin, the quiet stillness of the orchard, and the subtle movements of nocturnal creatures. Let these images fill your mind, replacing any racing thoughts or worries with a sense of deep tranquility. Notice the gentle pressure of your feet on the earth if you are sitting, or the gentle support of the mattress beneath you if you are lying down. If your thoughts begin to wander, that's perfectly all right. Simply acknowledge them without judgment, like passing clouds in the night sky, and gently bring your attention back to your breath or the sound of my voice. There's nothing you need to do now except relax and allow the story to carry you toward rest. Feel the gentle rhythm of the orchard, the slow, steady pulse of nature as it unfolds in the quiet of the night. Let it wash away your stress, your anxieties, your concerns. Imagine yourself strolling along the moonlit path with Arthur, feeling the peace of the orchard seep into your bones, grounding you in the present moment. Let the quiet magic of Silver Creek Orchard envelop you, bringing you a sense of deep peace and contentment as we begin our journey together. Chapter 1. Returning Roots. The old screen door creaked softly, a familiar lullaby welcoming Arthur back to Silver Creek Orchard. It had been years since he last stood on this porch, years filled with the hustle and bustle of city life, a life that had slowly chipped away at his soul. Now he was home, seeking refuge in the familiar embrace of the orchard, a place where time seemed to move at a more gentle, deliberate pace. He stepped onto the worn wooden boards, their texture rough yet comforting beneath his feet, a sensation that sent a wave of warmth and ease traveling up through his body and into his heart. It was a tactile reminder of simpler times, a physical connection to a past he longed to revisit. A gentle breeze, carrying the sweet fragrance of early summer apples, drifted through the air. It was a soft caress, a subtle invitation to slow down, to breathe, to simply be. Arthur inhaled deeply, filling his lungs with the familiar scent, a fragrance that evoked memories of his childhood, of days spent exploring the orchard's hidden corners and napping under the shade of the ancient trees. The scent settled within him, a comforting presence that eased the lingering tension in his shoulders and quieted the persistent hum of worries in his mind. He felt his body respond, a subtle shift towards ease with each inhale, a growing sense of peace with each exhale. He stepped off the porch onto the soft grass, each step a quiet invitation toward an inner quiet. The orchard stretched before him, a sea of green bathed in the soft, fading light of late afternoon. The trees, old and gnarled, stood like silent sentinels, their branches heavy with the promise of the coming harvest. Their leaves rustled softly in the breeze, a gentle whisper that seemed to speak directly to Arthur's soul. He began to walk, his pace slow and deliberate, each step sinking into the soft earth, grounding him in the present moment. He moved along the path, each footstep a gentle pressure that sent a quiet message of calm throughout his body. It was a path he had walked countless times as a boy, and the familiarity of it was deeply comforting. He closed his eyes for a moment and allowed the feeling to wash over him, a tangible sense of coming home. As twilight deepened, the first stars began to appear, their faint light twinkling like distant diamonds scattered across the vast canvas of the night sky. The air grew cooler, and the sounds of the day gave way to the gentle chorus of crickets, their chirping a soothing lullaby that filled the evening air. Arthur continued his walk, his senses attuned to the subtle changes around him. He noticed the way the moonlight, now beginning to filter through the leaves, created a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow on the path ahead. He paused, allowing his gaze to rest on the gentle play of light, his mind effortlessly captivated by the simple beauty of the scene. It was a reminder that even in the stillness of the night, there was a subtle, vibrant energy at play. He reached a familiar bend in the path, a place where two of the oldest trees in the orchard stood side by side, their branches intertwined like old friends. He stopped, leaning against the rough bark of one of the trees, its texture a comforting presence against his back. He closed his eyes, feeling the coolness of the bark seep into his skin, a sensation that grounded him in the present moment. His awareness drifted inward. He noticed the steady rhythm of his breath, the gentle rise and fall of his chest, a quiet reminder of the life force flowing within him. With each breath, he felt himself sinking deeper into a state of relaxation, his body heavy and at ease, his mind quiet and still. The worries and anxieties that had plagued him in the city began to fade, replaced by a sense of profound peace. He was home, enveloped by the familiar sights, sounds, and scents of the orchard, a place where he felt a deep sense of belonging. In the distance, the farmhouse stood silhouetted against the twilight sky, a warm glow emanating from its windows. It was a beacon of comfort, a reminder of family and simpler times. Arthur opened his eyes, his gaze drawn to the moon, now a luminous orb hanging in the night sky. Its silvery light bathed the orchard in a magical glow, transforming the familiar landscape into a place of enchantment. He felt a sense of awe and wonder wash over him, a childlike appreciation for the simple beauty of the natural world. He was reminded that even in the midst of change, there was a constant, a reassuring rhythm to life, a gentle cycle of growth and renewal that played out each day and each season in the orchard. He felt himself settle into that awareness, his heart filled with gratitude. As the night deepened, Arthur knew it was time to head inside, but he also knew that this was just the beginning of his journey back to himself, back to the simple joys he had almost forgotten. He pushed off from the tree, a newfound lightness in his step. He turned towards the farmhouse, the moon illuminating his path, guiding him home. His nightly walks in the orchard had begun, and with each step, he felt himself moving closer to a place of deep peace and contentment, a place he knew he would find within the orchard's embrace. He set aside a specific time each evening, a small but powerful routine that reminded him to slow down, to pay attention, to simply be present. Chapter 2. The Language of Leaves. The first rays of dawn were just beginning to paint the eastern sky with hues of soft pink and orange as Arthur stepped out onto the porch the next morning. The air was crisp and cool, carrying the refreshing scent of dew-kissed grass and the faintest hint of wood smoke from the farmhouse chimney. He inhaled deeply, feeling the coolness fill his lungs, awakening his senses and gently energizing his body. It was a subtle invitation to begin the day with a sense of quiet anticipation, a gentle nudge into the present moment. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the tranquil energy of the early morning settle around him. Like a soft blanket, a comforting embrace that eased him into the day. He made his way to the orchard, drawn by an unspoken alaipu, a gentle pull towards the heart of his family's legacy. The path was still damp from the night's dew, the soft earth yielding beneath his feet with each step. He noticed the way the early morning light filtered through the leaves, creating a mosaic of light and shadow that danced across the path ahead. It was a mesmerizing display, a reminder of the simple beauty that could be found in the everyday world, if one only took the time to notice. He found a soft joy in paying attention, a quiet contentment that filled him with a sense of profound peace. He began to establish a gentle routine with each walk, finding that the familiarity of these small acts helped to settle his mind and calm his body. As he walked, Arthur began to pay closer attention to the trees themselves, noticing the subtle differences in their shapes, sizes, and textures. He ran his hand along the rough bark of an ancient apple tree, its surface a roadmap of time, etched with the stories of countless seasons. He felt a sense of connection to the tree, a recognition of its enduring strength and resilience. He touched the smooth skin of a ripe apple, feeling its coolness beneath his fingers, a tactile reminder of the orchard's bounty. Each tree seemed to possess its own unique personality, its own quiet wisdom. He observed the leaves, their vibrant green, a testament to the life force flowing within them. He noticed the way they rustled in the gentle morning breeze, their movements creating a symphony of soft sounds, a soothing melody that filled the orchard. It was a language he was beginning to understand, a subtle communication between the trees, the wind, and himself. He closed his eyes, allowing the sounds to wash over him, calming his mind and drawing him deeper into the present moment. The leaves, he realized, were not merely passive recipients of the wind's touch, but active participants in a delicate dance, their movements shaping the very air around them. He paused beneath a particularly large tree, its branches forming a canopy overhead, creating a secluded space, a natural sanctuary within the orchard. He looked up, noticing the intricate patterns formed by the leaves against the backdrop of the brightening sky. It was like gazing at a living stained glass window, a masterpiece created by nature itself. He felt a sense of awe and wonder, a childlike appreciation for the beauty that surrounded him. It was in these quiet moments of observation that Arthur felt most connected to the orchard, most at peace with himself. He began to notice the subtle variations in the rustling of the leaves, the way the sound changed depending on the strength of the breeze and the type of tree. The leaves of the older trees, thick and leathery, produced a deeper, more resonant sound, while the younger trees, with their lighter, more delicate leaves, created a higher-pitched, almost musical rustle. It was a subtle symphony, a language of whispers and sighs, of rustles and murmurs, a conversation carried on between the wind and the trees. He began to see the subtle beauty in the slow growth of the trees, a testament to the power of patience and the quiet strength of nature. Arthur continued his walk, his senses fully engaged, absorbing the sights, sounds, and scents of the orchard. He noticed the way the sunlight illuminated the dewdrops clinging to the leaves, transforming them into tiny, sparkling jewels. He observed a spider meticulously weaving its web between two branches, a delicate tapestry of silk glistening in the morning light. Each observation, no matter how small, filled him with a sense of quiet joy, a reminder of the intricate beauty and interconnectedness of all things. He felt himself becoming more attuned to these subtle wonders, his awareness expanding with each passing day. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting its warm golden light upon the orchard, Arthur felt a sense of contentment wash over him. He had found a rhythm in his walks, a gentle cadence that mirrored the natural rhythms of the orchard itself. His daily explorations had become a form of moving meditation, a way to quiet his mind and connect with the peaceful energy of the natural world. He knew that this was just the beginning of his journey, and he looked forward to discovering more of the orchard's secrets, more of the subtle language of the leaves, more ways to notice the ease all around him. He was learning to listen, not just with his ears, but with his whole being. He recognized the familiar path as an invitation to slow down, to breathe, and to simply be present. Chapter 3. Shadows and Memories. The moon, a silvery disk in the velvety night sky, cast long dancing shadows across the orchard as Arthur began his evening walk. The air was still and quiet, save for the gentle chirping of crickets, their chorus a soothing serenade that filled the darkness. He moved along the familiar path, the soft earth cushioning each step, a gentle reminder of the solid ground beneath his feet. The familiar pressure lulled him into a sense of well-being. Tonight, the orchard felt different, imbued with a sense of mystery and nostalgia, a feeling that tugged at his heart and drew him deeper into its embrace. He noticed his breathing slow in response to the stillness, a natural rhythm that calmed his mind and settled his body. As he walked, the shadows seemed to shift and sway, taking on familiar shapes that sparked memories of his childhood. He remembered playing hide-and-seek amongst these very trees, their branches forming a leafy labyrinth where he and his siblings would spend countless hours lost in their games. He could almost hear the echoes of their laughter, the sound of their footsteps rustling through the leaves, the joyous shouts as they discovered each other's hiding places. He recalled the feeling of joyful discovery when a sibling would emerge from behind a tree, a feeling he now recognized as pure, simple joy. These memories, vivid and poignant, washed over him like a gentle wave, carrying him back to a time of innocence and wonder. He paused beneath the old oak tree, the one they used to call the wishing tree, its massive trunk a silent testament to the passage of time. He remembered carving his initials into its bark, a childish act of claiming this space, of making his mark upon the world. He ran his hand over the rough surface, searching for the faint indentations, a tangible connection to his past. He could almost feel the ghost of his younger self standing beside him, a reminder of the boy he once was, full of dreams and aspirations. He noticed a feeling of warmth spread through his chest, a feeling of self-compassion and understanding. The moonlight filtered through the leaves, casting an ethereal glow upon the path ahead, illuminating patches of wildflowers that grew along its edges. He remembered picking bouquets of these flowers for his mother, their vibrant colors and sweet fragrance filling the farmhouse with a sense of joy. He could almost smell their delicate perfume now, a scent that evoked memories of his mother's gentle smile, her warm embrace, and the unconditional love that had filled their home. He felt his heart swell with a mixture of fondness and longing, a poignant ache for a time that could never be relived, yet lived on within him. As he continued his walk, he noticed how the shadows seemed to deepen the silence of the orchard, creating a sense of intimacy and solitude. It was as if the darkness itself was a comforting presence, a gentle cloak that wrapped around him, shielding him from the outside world and allowing him to delve deeper into his own thoughts and memories. He felt safe and secure within this nocturnal embrace, free to explore the landscape of his past without fear or judgment. He began to recognize that the silence was not empty, but full of subtle sounds that he had never noticed before. He remembered his father teaching him the names of the constellations, tracing their patterns in the starlit sky with his calloused finger. He could almost hear his father's voice now, a deep, resonant sound that echoed through the years, sharing stories of ancient myths and legends associated with each celestial formation. He looked up, searching for the familiar patterns, a sense of connection to his father, to his ancestors, to the vast expanse of the universe. He felt a sense of awe and wonder, a realization of his place within the grand tapestry of time and space. Each step along the moonlit path brought forth a new wave of memories, some joyful, some tinged with sadness, but all of them precious, all of them part of the rich tapestry of his life. He remembered the taste of freshly baked apple pie, the warmth of the kitchen on cold winter nights, the sound of his grandmother's gentle humming as she knitted by the fire. These memories, once distant and faded, now felt vivid and immediate, as if they were happening all over again. He realized that the orchard was not just a place of natural beauty, but a repository of his personal history, a living testament to the people and experiences that had shaped him. As he neared the end of his walk, Arthur felt a sense of gratitude for these memories, for the opportunity to revisit them, to learn from them, to find solace in them. The shadows, once a source of apprehension, now seemed like old friends, companions on his journey through the landscape of his past. He knew that these nightly walks were not just about physical exercise, but about nourishing his soul, about reconnecting with his roots, about finding peace in the gentle embrace of the orchard. The memories that surfaced on nights like these were gifts, helping him to understand himself better, to appreciate the simple joys of life, and to find contentment in the present moment. He knew that with each walk he was moving toward a greater ease and a deeper appreciation for the gentle gifts each moment offered. Chapter 4. The Orchard's Heartbeat. As the days gently transitioned into weeks, Arthur found himself becoming more attuned to the subtle rhythms of the orchard, recognizing it not just as a collection of trees, but as a living, breathing entity with its own unique heartbeat. It was a rhythm that pulsed beneath the surface, a quiet energy that flowed through every leaf, every branch, every root, connecting all living things within its embrace. He felt himself becoming more attuned to this subtle energy, his own internal rhythms aligning with the gentle pulse of the orchard. He noticed a sense of calm he hadn't felt in years begin to settle over him, a deep and abiding peace that permeated his being. He began to notice the subtle changes that occurred throughout the day, the way the light shifted and danced among the leaves, the way the sounds of the orchard evolved from the morning chorus of birds to the evening serenade of crickets. It was a constant yet ever-changing symphony, a reminder of the dynamic nature of life, the continuous flow of energy that connected all things. He found comfort in this gentle flux, a sense of belonging within the natural order of the world. He recognized that he was a part of this cycle, his own life intertwined with the rhythms of the orchard. During his walks, he would often pause to observe the creatures that called the orchard home. He watched as a family of deer emerged from the shadows, their movements graceful and fluid as they grazed peacefully beneath the trees. He observed the silent flight of an owl as it swooped down from its perch, its keen eyes scanning the ground for prey. He saw the busy industry of ants as they marched in formation, carrying bits of food back to their colony. Each encounter was a reminder of the vibrant life that thrived within the orchard, a testament to the interconnectedness of all living things. He became fascinated by the nocturnal creatures that emerged after dark, their presence adding a new dimension to the orchard's already rich tapestry of life. He listened to the soft hooting of the owl, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the darkness. He observed the flickering dance of fireflies, their tiny lights illuminating the night like living stars. He watched as moths, drawn to the moon's silvery glow, fluttered around the trees, their delicate wings catching the light. He found a sense of wonder in these encounters, a childlike fascination with the hidden world that came alive after dark. Arthur realized that the orchard was not a silent, static place. but a dynamic ecosystem teeming with life. A place where every creature, no matter how small, played a vital role. It was a community, bound together by an intricate web of relationships, a delicate balance of predator and prey, of life and death, of growth and decay. He felt a sense of awe and respect for this intricate web, a recognition of the profound wisdom inherent in the natural world. He began to understand that he too was a part of this web, a thread in the larger tapestry of life. He started to see the orchard as a microcosm of the larger world, a reflection of the interconnectedness of all things. He saw how the trees depended on the soil, the sun, and the rain for their nourishment, how the animals depended on the trees for food and shelter, and how the entire ecosystem was held in a delicate balance, a constant interplay of forces that sustained life. It was a lesson in harmony, a demonstration of how seemingly disparate elements could coexist and support one another, creating something beautiful and enduring. This awareness fostered a sense of inner peace, a feeling of being connected to something larger than himself. Through his observations, Arthur began to understand that the orchard's heartbeat was not a singular uniform pulse, but a complex symphony of rhythms, each creature, each plant, each element contributing its own unique note to the overall composition. It was a rhythm that changed with the seasons, from the slow, dormant pulse of winter to the vibrant, energetic pulse of summer, a constant cycle of growth, rest, and renewal. He felt himself becoming more attuned to these seasonal shifts, his own body responding to the changing rhythms of the natural world. As he continued his nightly walks, Arthur felt a deeper connection to the orchard, a sense of belonging that he had not experienced since his childhood. He was no longer just an observer, but a participant, a part of the intricate web of life that thrived within these trees. The orchard had become his sanctuary, a place where he could find solace, peace, and a profound sense of connection to the natural world. It was a place where he could simply be, without pretense or expectation, a place where he could listen to the quiet wisdom of the trees, the gentle murmur of the wind, and the subtle heartbeat of the orchard itself. He noticed that on nights spent in quiet observation, he slept more deeply and peacefully. The orchard had become his teacher, his guide, and his constant, calming companion. Chapter 5. Seasons of the Soul. The gentle shift from summer to autumn was almost imperceptible at first, a subtle change in the quality of light, a slight crispness in the evening air. Arthur noticed the leaves beginning to take on hues of gold and crimson, their vibrant green slowly giving way to the warm, earthy tones of fall. The orchard, once a symphony of bright, summery sounds, was gradually quieting down, the exuberant chorus of birds and insects replaced by a more subdued, reflective mood. He felt a shift within himself as well, a subtle change in his own internal landscape that mirrored the changing season. He recognized the familiar feeling as one of introspection, a gentle turning inward. As he walked along the moonlit path, he observed how the trees seemed to be preparing for their winter slumber, their energy slowly withdrawing from their branches, drawing inwards towards their roots. It was a time of letting go, of shedding the old to make way for the new. a natural cycle of release and renewal. He saw the beauty in this process, the quiet dignity with which the trees surrendered to the changing season. It was a powerful reminder that change was not something to be feared, but a natural and necessary part of life. He felt a sense of gratitude for this lesson, a quiet appreciation for the wisdom of the natural world. The scent of the orchard had changed too. The sweet fragrance of ripening apples now mingled with the earthy aroma of fallen leaves, creating a unique perfume that spoke of both abundance and surrender. He inhaled deeply, savoring the complex scent, recognizing it as the smell of transition, the aroma of change. It was a bittersweet fragrance, a reminder that all things must eventually come to an end, but also that endings are simply the prelude to new beginnings. He felt a sense of peace in this understanding, a quiet acceptance of the cyclical nature of life. Arthur began to reflect on the seasons of his own life, drawing parallels to the cycles he observed in the orchard. He recognized that he too had experienced periods of growth and flourishing, times when he felt full of energy and vitality, when his life was in full bloom. He had also known periods of dormancy, times of quiet introspection, when he felt the need to withdraw, to conserve his energy, to reflect on his path. He saw now that these periods were not separate, disconnected phases, but rather integral parts of a larger, more meaningful whole. He noticed that this awareness brought a sense of self-compassion, an understanding that it was okay to have periods of rest and renewal. He remembered his younger years, full of ambition and drive, a time when he was constantly striving to achieve, to prove himself, to climb the ladder of success. It was a period of intense activity, much like the orchard in spring and summer, bursting with life and energy. He had been so focused on his goals that he had often neglected his own inner needs, pushing himself to the point of exhaustion. He saw now that this relentless pursuit of external validation had left him feeling depleted and unfulfilled. He felt a sense of regret for those lost years, but also a sense of gratitude for the lessons he had learned. Then came the period of transition, the autumn of his life, when he began to question his priorities, to reevaluate his definition of success. It was a time of uncertainty, of letting go of old patterns and beliefs, of shedding the layers of his carefully constructed persona to reveal the more authentic self beneath. This period had been challenging, much like the orchard's transition from summer to fall, but it had also been a time of profound growth and transformation. He recognized that this period of shedding was necessary, a vital step in his journey towards greater self-awareness. Now, he felt himself entering a new season, a time of quiet reflection and inner peace, much like the orchard in winter. It was a time to slow down, to turn inward, to nurture his soul, to connect with the deeper wisdom that resided within him. He was no longer driven by the need for external validation, for the approval of others. He was content to simply be, to find joy in the simple things, to appreciate the beauty of the present moment. This newfound sense of contentment felt like a warm embrace, a gentle reassurance that he was on the right path. As he continued his nightly walks, Arthur felt a sense of gratitude for the orchard. for the lessons it had taught him about the cyclical nature of life, about the importance of embracing change, about the beauty of letting go. He understood that just as the orchard needed its periods of dormancy, so too did he need these times of quiet reflection to replenish his spirit, to gain clarity, and to prepare for the new growth that would inevitably follow. He recognized that true fulfillment came not from external achievements, but from within, from cultivating a deep connection with himself, with nature, and with the gentle rhythms of life. He felt a sense of peace he hadn't felt before, a quiet confidence that he was exactly where he was meant to be. He recognized the gentle rhythm of the orchard as a comforting presence, a reminder that he was part of something larger than himself. Chapter 6. A Harvest of Peace. The air had grown colder now, the first frost of autumn painting the leaves of the orchard with a delicate layer of white. The trees, stripped bare of their foliage, stood in stark silhouette against the night sky, their branches reaching upward like supplicating arms. The sounds of the orchard had become even more subdued, the chirping of crickets replaced by a profound stillness, a silence that seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of winter's arrival. Arthur, wrapped in a thick coat, continued his nightly walks, his breath clouding in the frosty air, each exhale a visible reminder of the life force within him. As he walked along the familiar path, now covered with a carpet of crisp fallen leaves, he felt a sense of deep peace settle over him. It was a peace that had been slowly growing within him throughout his time in the orchard, nurtured by the quiet beauty of the natural world, by the gentle rhythm of his nightly walks, by the wisdom he had gleaned from observing the cycles of growth and decay, of light and shadow. He felt a sense of completion, as if he had come full circle, returning to his roots to find a sense of wholeness he had long sought. The orchard was preparing for its winter slumber, a time of rest and regeneration, and Arthur, too, felt a sense of quiet readiness for a new chapter in his life. He had shed the anxieties and ambitions that had once defined him, much like the trees had shed their leaves. He had embraced a simpler, more authentic way of being, finding contentment in the present moment, in the quiet joys of daily life, in the deep connection he felt to the natural world. He had learned to listen to the subtle language of the orchard, and in doing so, had found a deeper understanding of himself. He paused beneath his favorite tree, the old oak that had stood sentinel over the orchard for generations. He placed his hand on its rough bark, feeling a sense of connection to its enduring strength, its quiet resilience. It was a connection that transcended words, a silent communion between two living beings, a recognition of their shared journey through the seasons of life. He felt a sense of gratitude for this ancient tree, for its steadfast presence, for the lessons it had imparted simply by being. Looking out over the moonlit landscape, Arthur saw the beauty in the stark simplicity of the winter orchard. The absence of leaves revealed the underlying structure of the trees, their intricate network of branches, the elegant architecture of their forms. It was a beauty that had always been there, but one that was often obscured by the abundance of summer foliage. He realized that sometimes it was in the stripping away, in the letting go, that the true essence of things was revealed. He thought about his life, about the journey that had brought him back to this place, to this moment. He had spent so many years striving for external success, chasing after fleeting pleasures, that he had lost sight of what truly mattered. The simple joys of connection, of belonging, of being present in the world. The orchard had taught him to slow down, to pay attention, to appreciate the beauty in the everyday, to find peace in the gentle rhythms of nature. It had taught him the profound truth that true happiness comes not from achieving, but from simply being. As he turned to leave the orchard, he knew that he would carry its lessons with him, wherever his path might lead. He had found a harvest of peace within its embrace, a quiet joy that would sustain him through the seasons to come. He had rediscovered his roots, reconnected with his past, and in doing so, had found a new sense of purpose, a deeper understanding of himself and his place in the world. He had learned to appreciate the subtle shifts in the seasons, both within and outside of himself. Arthur decided to stay at the orchard. He tended the trees and walked the familiar paths. The deep sense of belonging he had found in the orchard was a treasure beyond measure, a gift he would cherish for the rest of his days. He had come seeking solace, and he had found so much more. He had found a home, not just in the physical sense, but in the deepest sense of the word. A home within himself, a home within the natural world, a home within the gentle embrace of the moonlit path through the orchard. He had learned to recognize the small, daily acts of gentle awareness as invitations toward a deeper sense of ease. He knew with a certainty that settled deep within his bones that he was exactly where he was meant to be. He recognized the orchard as a constant comforting companion and a gentle guide toward a more peaceful way of being.